Good evening, and thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Serene Damaki from ABC Radio, and it's my pleasure to be your host today here at the Museum of Contemporary Art overlooking the beautiful Sydney Harbour. Throughout November, each state and territory are recognising and celebrating extraordinary achievements through the Australian of the Year awards, just as we are tonight. You will hear stories of courage, compassion, resilience and hope. They are the stories of often everyday Australians with a passion for making a difference. Whether you're here with us in the room or watching online at australianoftheyear.org.au, welcome. You are in for a great celebration of some incredible people. Please do show your support on social media using the hashtag #AusOfTheYear. That's AUS of the Year. The Australian of the Year Awards shine a spotlight on those special people whose contributions lead us, inspire us, and make our country a far better place. Welcome to all the nominees and your families. I can't wait to hear your stories and acknowledge your achievements. I would like to acknowledge our distinguished guests joining us tonight. Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beazley, Governor of New South Wales, and Mr Dennis Wilson. The Honourable Chris Minns, Premier of New South Wales, the Honourable Patrick Gorman, Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, Mr John Foreman, Chair of the National Australia Day Council, Mr Mark Fraser, CEO, National Australia Day Council, board members of the National Australia Day Council, the 2024 Australian of the Year, Professor Richard Scolyer, the 2024 New South Wales Australian of the Year recipients, Dr John Ward, Angus Olson and Dr Nikhil Autar, friends, family and colleagues. I now invite Yvonne Weldon, Board Member, Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, to welcome us to country.
Good evening, Premier, Governor, Mr Wilson, the many dignitaries that are here, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, all genders and identities. As was said, my name is Yvonne Weldon. I am a Wiradjuri woman from Cowra here in New South Wales, from the waters of the Clare, which later became known as the Lachlan, and of the Murrumbidgee rivers. Unfortunately, where we're gathered, there aren't any people who have met legal requirements to be regarded as traditional owners of these lands and also these waterways. And so I am a representative of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, who are caretakers with culture authority under the Aboriginal Land Rights Act. I would like to pay my respects to all elders past and present, to all First Nations, to you and the ancestors of the lands that you've travelled from or are from. Some people have views about welcomes to country and whether we need it to be done. There is so much across this continent that is unknown. Our practices of generations and generations. Sometimes this isn't always respected. And when this happens, it further dispossesses the First Nations. I thank you for including me, the First Nations and all of us. We can achieve so much more when we do so together. A welcome to country is an age-old tradition. It is more than just words or something you tick off on. It is a spiritual process. By honouring the ancestors' footsteps, we are all walking in, continuing the practice of the many generations before us to the many generations to come. Our boundaries are written into the Earth's natural landscapes. The boundaries of the Eora are the Hawkes River in the north, the Nepean in the west, and the Georges River in the south. On behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, the elders and the members, I welcome everyone to the lands of the Gadigal. I acknowledge Gadigal people whose spirits and ancestors will always remain with this land, our Mother Earth. Across this beautiful continent of my people, we represent hundreds of nations, tribes and clans existing here for over 65,000 years. My people are the oldest living culture of the world. And as we're joined here today, let us all reflect upon the many people of this ancient earth, the ones from the First Nations and also from the nations that have joined us, creating our fusion together into all that we do, to be shared, and to be honoured with kindness, creating that connection of my people, your people, and all our people together. The difference that you're making can shape and change the direction of many generations. Through your sharing and giving, it is an investment in a better society, a better New South Wales, a better Australia. For the world we will one day leave for others, hopefully in a greater state. You all are amazing, and I get my greatest inspiration from my grandbabies. Being here reminds me of the themes of the National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Children's Day, which is held in August each year. Some of those themes are so important to reflect. Themes such as, we are the elders of tomorrow, hear our voice, my dreaming, my future, and little voices, loud futures. As you guide those around you and also yourself, our future generations, and you are all our future. Know that in the footprints of our ancestors we walk. Leave the prints as they stand. Make sure that they stand for something positive. Think about the difference that you are making today and tomorrow that will become the milestones of an all-inclusive future to continue to create that future that we all need. So let us all draw upon my people's spirits as we continue on our journey. May my people's spirits walk with you and guide you as we strive forward for us all. Again, on behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, Ninyini, Nala, Wongan, Mari, Bajari, Gadi, Nurda, welcome to Gadigal country. This always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Yvonne, for that beautiful welcome to country. Please join me in welcoming Charlie Chech to stage. Charlie is a young performer from the Talent Development Project and will lead us in singing the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every state advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath our radiant southern cross we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas, we've boundless claims to share. With courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, Charlie, for that wonderful performance of the National Anthem. This year, we received thousands of nominations from the public, nominating someone who inspires them. After a very difficult shortlisting process, the 18 incredible nominees here tonight were selected by a diverse panel of representatives from across New South Wales. Our nominees for 2025 include First Nations leaders, educators, researchers, fearless advocates, charity founders, and frontline heroes. They each have their own pathways and motivations. All I can say is get ready to be inspired. One recipient will be announced in each of the 4 categories: Australia's Local Hero, Young Australian of the Year, Senior Australian of the Year, and the Australian of the Year. Those 4 recipients will then join the other state and territory recipients at the National Awards on the eve of Australia Day, with the Prime Minister revealing the national recipients live on the ABC. Our nominees are already legends in Australia's eyes, and we thank them for their contribution. Let's give them a huge round of applause. I'll now invite the Honourable Chris Minns, Premier of New South Wales, to share some words. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thanks, Serene. I really appreciate you emceeing tonight. Thank you, Charlie, for that wonderful rendition of the national anthem. You thought you'd trick us with the second verse, but we all knew the words. It was amazing. And thank you particularly to Yvonne for that beautiful and heartfelt welcome to country. Thank you for letting us be part of this ancient, beautiful culture. You do it so well. We love you, Yvonne. Thank you for sharing this night with us. I'd like to acknowledge the Governor, thank you, Your Excellency, as well as the Australian of the Year and New South Wales's nominee for Australian of the Year, and that is Professor Richard Scolyer, who's here. Great to see you, Richard. And I, of course, would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people whose land we meet on tonight. A big welcome to all our nominees, to all your family and friends who are joining us this evening. It's an honour to join you tonight in celebrating 18 extraordinary Australians. Knowing some of you, perhaps you don't see yourself as extraordinary or exceptional, but you are. And tonight we're here to say in no uncertain terms that you've made a massive impact on our state and our country. I think it's true to say that most people are good at heart, or at least we hope they are. And when they see suffering, when they feel pain, when they see problems in the world, they want it ended. But I think it takes a special kind of person to acknowledge that struggle in the community, that pain that might be felt, and want to do something about it, to step into the breach, to take responsibility at the end of the day to help people, their fellow Australians. By being nominated as part of these awards, you've been chosen by your peers and your community and your country as one of those people. And the truth is, someone nominated you knowing that you'd probably never nominate yourself. And that's because for all of you, this is a product of your good work. It's not the goal. When Amy Scott went to work on April the 13th, it wasn't in the hope of recognition. In fact, I suspect she doesn't particularly enjoy the limelight. She stepped up that day to protect her community and, if necessary, risk her own life for the safety of other people, complete strangers. When Jess Hill began writing about domestic and family violence, it wasn't in the hope of winning a literary award, although she has won many of them. It was to give a voice to voiceless women, and by telling their stories in the future, to protect other families from the scourge of family and domestic violence. When Daniel Prinsep started teaching boys and young men about respectful relationships, it wasn't to stand on stage tonight, it was to help people grow and change their lives and live more open and better lives, to become responsible adults as they grow. And when Kath Cashel overcame her life-changing injuries and started the Kindness Factory, it was to teach people in the power of resilience and kindness, even in the darkest of moments. For all 18 of you, the ultimate reward doesn't come in any formal recognition or honour. It comes in the lives that you've changed and the country you've transformed for the better. One thing this nomination does give is an even bigger platform and megaphone, a podium to further your cause. And we hope that you do that, just as Richard and Georgina have done over the last 12 months. Just as importantly, we hope that you inspire others to be special people in their own lives, in their own communities, in our country. So a sincere congratulations to every single one of you. For our young Australians who haven't waited their turn to change the world, To our senior Australians who are using all of their experience and wisdom to give back in remarkable ways. Muhammad Ali once said that service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. You've given that service, you've paid that rent, and you've made this country a better place. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Premier, for your inspiring words. Now, our first 2025 Australian of the Year award for New South Wales is the category of Local Hero, which recognises Australians making a significant contribution in their local community. Let's learn some more about this category, which is supported by the Department of Home Affairs.
Our local heroes are everyday Australians doing amazing things in their local communities. They represent what's great about communities. They keep their communities strong and they are the fabric of our society.
They'll tell you when we open our doors to our neighbours, we open our hearts and we give ourselves the chance to rejoice with others, to learn from them.
Rural people are worth fighting for because they get up and they show up in fire and flood and droughts and plagues and pandemics, and they put food on the nation's table. So the least we can do as a nation is make sure that they're getting support when they look for it.
Hey, it's Tony Burke, the Minister for Home Affairs. I just want to tell you why it's so important that we sponsor the Local Heroes Award. This award, people don't compete for it. People just do what they do. And I love when we recognise people who never sought recognition. There are people who are local heroes because they just very humbly go out and do jobs every day that show leadership through their work. There are people who are local heroes because they stand up for people who, when no one else is standing up for them. There are people who are local heroes because in a moment of crisis, they just step up without thinking about themselves and just helping others. But most importantly, everybody being awarded today did it because of their love of their community, love of their country, love of the people you are helping. And that is worthy of recognition.
The award not only acknowledges work done so far, but gives encouragement to continue, and that's important.
It's not easy to just sit around and talk about the problems. I urge everyone, be kind and respectful. You too can be part of the change of the solution.
Building a world-class natural history museum is a multi-million-dollar investment. But my question to everyone here is, what is our continent worth? What is the education of our children worth? Australia's future is inextricably linked to its past, and our children are its future custodians. The more they understand it, the better they will care for it. To me, nothing is more important.
Some amazing people there. I invite the Premier to please join me on stage to present the award. And let's learn about our nominees for the 2025 New South Wales Local Hero.
After teaching students with behavioural challenges for 10 years, Adam de Mermiel wanted to do more to improve prospects for some of Australia's most vulnerable youth. Believing that it's easier to build a strong boy than repair a broken man, Adam started Boys to the Bush. He now helps vulnerable and disengaged boys with preventative and early intervention strategies. Renuka Fernando and Ben Stammer started Relove in 2020 to help people in crisis set up a home from scratch. At zero cost, 25 families a week benefit from Relove's good quality rescued furniture and household items. Renuka and Ben have furnished homes for more than 2,000 families, providing more than $20 million worth of furniture and saving 3,000 tonnes of furniture from landfill. As one of the founders of the Homicide Victims Support Group, Martha Jabor OAM coordinates crucial support and counselling services for more than 4,200 family members of victims of homicide in New South Wales. By building coalitions of people from all walks of life, Martha then opened Grace's Place, a world-first trauma recovery facility for people who've been impacted by the homicide of a family member. As manager of the Rainbow Lodge, Claude Robinson helps men who've been in jail successfully integrate back into society. Through his tireless positivity, compassion and care, Claude helps men who've experienced trauma heal, learn living skills and overcome addiction. Claude's having a profound impact, helping prevent men from feeling isolated, becoming homeless and reoffending.
We're so lucky to have people like these in our communities. Premier, I now invite you to present each nominee with their certificate. Adam de Mamiel. Martha Jabor. Claude Robinson. Congratulations, Claude. And Renuka Fernando and Ben Stammer. Let's give them all, another round of applause. Okay, Premier, over to you to announce our winner.
The 2025 local hero for New South Wales is Martha Jabor.
Congratulations, Martha.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What inspired you to do this work in your local community?
Well, I guess 31 and a half years ago, I was invited to help coordinate the setting up of a homicide victims support group in New South Wales after meeting the parents of Ebony Simpson and Anita Cobby. And the inspiration comes from each and every family member that is affected by a homicide in our state. Doing this work for 31 and a half years is not easy. I've got a great team of people, but it's the family members that inspire me and inspire so many to help support me and my team to do this work.
Martha, what have been some of the outcomes?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the building and opening of a world-first residential trauma centre for children affected by homicide in New South Wales and Australia. And that's been a wonderful thing because it just means that when children and their families are affected by a homicide, we can look after them in a place that is filled with love and just so many people that come together to provide support, counselling, advocacy for family members, especially children. And we just want these children to grow up knowing that there are more good people in the world than there are bad that have caused them so much pain.
Our 2025 New South Wales local hero, Martha Jabor, thank you. Congratulations again. Don't forget your trophy, Now, onto the Young Australian of the Year category, supported by the Australian Government Office for Youth. This award was introduced in 1979 and recognises inspiring young Australians aged between 16 and 30 years of age who have already accomplished great things. Let's hear more about our young category from some past recipients.
When you look at the Young Australians of the Year, we're all reminded that our future is in really good hands.
I've been given an opportunity in such a beautiful country to be myself, and for me the most important thing is to help the next generation and also inspire them to be themselves and follow their dreams.
We have the power to shape the future and make Australia a place where we're all proud, where we all belong, and where we stand united.
I'm beyond proud to congratulate you as our exceptional state and territory finalists for the 2025 Young Australians of the Year. Now, as Minister for Youth, I'm honoured to support and sponsor the Young Australian of the Year program, shining a light on the wonderful achievements of young people right across the country. Each of you are leading examples to your peers, your communities, and the entire country, creating a better and brighter future. You are each being recognised for your incredible achievements, demonstrating the extraordinary things young Australians can accomplish. Now, I can't wait to see the incredible contributions you will make next, and I wish you nothing but success.
The Young Australians of the Year have a really impressive energy and a drive to make Australia a better place.
I simply couldn't live with myself, knowing that there were Australians suffering from medical conditions that could be treated.
It is still crazy to me that I've done what I have in sport, and I want young kids to know that I was once in the same position that they are now, hoping and dreaming of one day of doing something big. I want to have an impact on people's lives by encouraging them to push hard and go after their dreams and what they're passionate about.
Premier, will you please join me on stage again? Without further ado, let's hear the achievements so far for our nominees for the 2025 New South Wales Young Australian of the Year Award.
Noor Aziza, a Rohingya refugee, is a role model who exemplifies the capacity of the human spirit to rise above adversity and make a positive impact on the world. As co-founder and director of the Rohingya Mayafwanur Collaborative Network, Noor is advocating for the rights of Rohingya people, especially women. She's making a meaningful impact on a global scale. As co-founders of the Tie-Dye Project, Molly Croft and Amy Parmenter make and sell tie-dye t-shirts to raise funds for sarcoma cancer research. To date, they've tie-dyed 16,930 items and raised more than $1 million. Their unwavering commitment to driving change and raising awareness reminds us that no matter our age, we all have the power to make a positive impact on the world. At 16, Alex Noble was injured on the rugby field, severely damaging his spine, and was told he'd never walk again. Today, Alex is a university student, a paralegal, a CEO, a motivational speaker, an author, an ambassador, and a fundraiser for spinal cord injury research and rehabilitation. His achievements and message have inspired thousands to find happiness and reach their full potential. Madison O'Grady-Lee is a psychology PhD candidate who's passionate about improving youth mental health outcomes. Madison's the co-founder of the Origin Global Youth Advocacy Fellowship, where she created a global community of young people who are combating taboos around mental health. She was the first person from Oceania to win the Dalai Lama Peace Fellowship.
Premier, would you please present each nominee with their certificate? Madison O'Grady-Lee. Alex Noble, congratulations, Noor Aziza, and Molly Croft and Amy Parmenter. Give them all a round of applause. Premier, if you can do the honours, please.
The 2025 Young Australian of the Year for New South Wales is Madison O'Grady-Lee.
Congratulations, Madison. Yay! 2025 New South Wales Young Australian of the Year Award. Talk to us about what impact you're seeing through the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I think I'm so privileged to work in the space that I am. Young people are leading the change in mental health and getting to be a part of that through seeing the stories from my research, but also the young people that we work with around the world. I think we've seen some incredible things happen, such as tools that are culturally appropriate and valid be developed. We're seeing young people share their stories and inspire generations. It's just been so incredible. Things interpreted into languages so vulnerable communities have access to this.
So what's next for you and your work? Is there something that you're working toward?
Yeah,
or stuff that you're working more than something that you're working towards?
Yeah, so we're really hoping within our global fellowship that we can kind of double the impact that we're having and continue to work in more countries. And in our research for the First Nations youth mental health, first I want to finish my PhD. I've got a couple more months. I'm very close to submission.
Of course you are.
Once we're done with that, we're really hoping that we can see the development of a culturally appropriate assessment tool for First Nations young people. So when they go to health services or we do research, they feel valued and their voices are heard.
2025 New South Wales Young Australian of the Year, Madison O'Grady-Lee. Thank you. Congratulations. Go you. Tonight we're joined by the 4 remarkable recipients of last year's awards. Australian of the Year, Professor Richard Scolyer, whose enduring partnership with fellow Australian of the Year, Professor Georgina Long, has saved thousands of lives from Australia's national cancer through their pioneering melanoma immunotherapy approach. New South Wales Senior Australian of the Year, Dr. John Ward, geriatrician and co-founder Hunter Ageing Alliance. Our New South Wales Young Australian of the Year, Dr. Nikhil Orta, researcher and founder of Beam Health. And New South Wales local hero Angus Olsen, childhood cancer illustrator and author. These inspiring people never stop in their pursuit to make medical care across Australia far better. Now we'll share some highlights from a high school forum that our New South Wales recipients attended at the University of Wollongong earlier this year. They were also joined by the New South Wales 2018 Young Australian of the Year finalist Joel Pilgrim, founder of Waves of Wellness, who is here with us tonight. Let's look at how these panellists inspired our next generation of changemakers with their stories.
If you want to make a difference, don't just lean in, leap in. Be bold, be courageous.
Young Australian of the Year finalist, Joel Pilgrim, the 2024 New South Wales local hero, Angus Olsen. And we have the 2024 Australians of the Year.
Today's been a really beautiful time to stop and just acknowledge where we've come, how that recognition has shaped what we've been able to achieve and what that does to inspire young people of tomorrow.
To be there with these panellists who have done some amazing things for Australia. I'm really proud to be Australian. I'm proud to and honoured to be joint Australian of the Year with Richard. But most importantly, the generation who is coming through, their curiosity, their passion, their engagement, their enthusiasm, I think it's wonderful.
It's always amazing to me how we're all interconnected with what we do. There's all of us who volunteer and sacrifice, and this is all about seeing a need and filling that need, and it's always very simple. It doesn't have to be some big showy thing. Australians of the Year are all people who volunteer into a space where they see a need.
Today was so inspirational to see all the different panel members sharing just little wisdoms and golden nuggets from their own personal stories. I think what it shows us is that we're all human and that we all go through struggles, and the way that we've been able to capitalise and make the most of those experiences to support others is really amazing.
Their curiosity, their questions, as a scientist and a researcher, curiosity is so important. Every question we have, that's how we understand the world, that's how we make a difference. Really hoping that the kids are inspired to stay curious, to keep working towards their goals, to be flexible. Some doors will open, some doors will close. Don't ever lose heart, just keep moving forward.
I hope that we're able to inspire the next generation of change makers to think about what they can do to make the world a better place.
I've learned it's okay not to have a solid plan ready. You can just follow your passions, follow what you're into, and life will lead you where you're meant to be.
If one door is shut, there is multiple doors which we can enter. There is different pathways to achieve our goals and never give up. It's okay to learn new things and be creative with what you learn and to never limit yourself.
I've learned to be resilient and that life will lead you on the path that you're meant to, and that eventually you will find out what you're meant to do and it will make you happy.
You don't need to know what you want to do, what you want to be. And everyone's busy being themselves, so don't try and be them, be yourself. Be unique and just run your own races, comparing yourself to other people.
You don't know where you will go in life, and all study is good. You'll find that all these bits of things that you learn in your life, you'll apply them in the most amazing different ways as you move forward.
There's no pot, there's no treasure at the end of the rainbow. It's a fact we all have to face, but the journey is magnificent. So think big, be courageous, but how can what I do make a difference to many?
Make the most of every day. You don't know what's around the corner. Enjoy it, have fun, and be part of the community.
What a great video. We thank our 2024 award recipients for being here tonight and for the great work they continue to do. Can I ask Richard, John, Nikhil and Angus to stand, please? And please join me in giving them a round of applause. I'd now like to invite back to the stage our talented young crooner, Charlie Chech, to sing What a Wonderful World.
Maybe I'm just playing games. Maybe you're my saving grace. If I breathe you in, would you breathe
Thank you, Charlie. The Department of Health and Aged Care is the category partner for our next award, the Senior Australian of the Year. This award celebrates those Australians aged 65 years and over who continue to achieve and make a difference. Let's hear more about our Senior Australian of the Year category.
The Senior Australian of the Year award is an award that really carries a lot of respect because it's a reflection of many decades of work by the recipient.
Here in Australia, we are fortunate to be the home of the oldest continuing surviving cultures in the world. This is something we should be proud of and we should celebrate.
I pray that all people in our wonderful country, Australia, regardless of language, culture, skin colour or religious belief, may stand tall as proud Australians.
The Senior Australian of the Year award recognises and celebrates the incredible achievements of older Australians around the country. As the Minister for Aged Care, I want to congratulate all of you on being nominated. Ageing well means staying healthy and connecting with community. Improving the lives of others shows your continued passion and commitment to living well. I wish you all the best in the finals, but importantly, I want to acknowledge that every one of you should be proud of your continued achievements. You are an inspiration to all of us, and your legacies will benefit the nation for generations to come.
The Senior Australians of the Year are inspirational not only to other senior Australians, but to all Australians, and particularly to the younger generations coming through.
Bystander first aid is proven to prevent death in those vital minutes before an ambulance arrives.
We need equal rights, including fundings, services, and resources, so we can work side by side and support each other. And together we can share new ideas to heal our nation. Let us stand up and work together. Thank you.
Premier, could I invite you to please join me on stage again for the remaining presentations? With a lifetime of service and success, let's hear the stories of our nominees for the 2025 New South Wales Senior Australian of the Year Award.
Gwenda Darling, a proud Palawa woman, found out she had younger onset dementia in her late 50s. Since the diagnosis in 2012, Gwenda has been a champion for the human rights of ageing Australians, speaking at conferences and delivering webinars. Gwenda lives a full life on her terms. A lifelong advocate for Indigenous people, her passion is improving the lives of older Australians. Professor Michelle Haber AM has devoted her career to saving the lives of children with cancer. Her compassionate work has led not only to key advances in our understanding of childhood cancer, but also to improved survival rates. Through her tireless efforts, Australia is now the first country in the world to offer precision medicine to every child with cancer. Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki, AM, is a national treasure who makes science cool. With excitement and wonder, he communicates amazing things that scientists are discovering. Karl popularises science on ABC radio stations across Australia for several hours each week, and he's the author of 48 renowned science books. It's not surprising that an asteroid is named after him. Auntie Glendra Stubbs OAM is a proud Wiradjuri woman from the Mudgee, Dubbo and Narrandera area. For 40 years she's supported trauma survivors, and she served as an Aboriginal engagement advisor for the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse. Glendra has steadfastly supported First Nations people and trauma survivors, and many organisations rely on her as their elder in residence.
The Premier will now present our finalists with their certificate. Auntie Glendra Stubbs. Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki. Professor Michelle Haver. Gwenda Darling. A round of applause for these incredibly important members of our community. Premier, over to you once again.
The 2025 Senior Australian of the Year for New South Wales is Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki.
Congratulations, Dr. Karl. This is really exciting because I listen to you a lot and watch you a lot. I thought Karl's on here. Yes, and it's very exciting. So first off, tell me, what does receiving this award mean to you?
I'm incredibly honoured, but I kind of feel like an imposter after seeing what the other people did. Because I'm in the public eye and they're not, and they do stuff all the time, and big it up for them.
Yeah. Dr. Karl, the passion of people like you can also help other senior Australians get involved and maintain their connection to community, which we know is so important. Have you seen this happening?
Say that again?
Have you seen this happening?
Seen what happening?
Connections
to community?
Connection to community.
What, in me or in other people?
In other people? In you, in other people, in all?
It's a complicated question because on one hand we have so many means of communication that people are breaking up into smaller groups.
Okay.
And so you have the people who really like that performer in her early albums, and other people think that they're crap. I can't answer that, that's too hard.
All right, I'll move on to another one then. What inspired you to provide such dedicated service to your community?
A current affair on Channel 9 saying that vaccines didn't work and therefore we had an increase in whooping cough, and the current figures are 40,000 people in New South Wales had whooping cough, whereas before the disinformation that would get them higher advertising, it was virtually zero. In my personal case, my daughter at the age of 9 or 10 had whooping cough at the age of 9, which just did not happen back then when we had everybody vaccinated. And she vomited from coughing virtually every day for 6 months. And I know people who are doing it. And that was, we had this preventable disease. Like the Chinese came up with smallpox vaccines 1,200 years ago, and we're throwing it away so we can get better advertising ratings on TV so we can smell more dog food. What's that all about? So I had to do something. So I gave up the best job I ever had in my whole life, which was being a medical doctor. Here I am.
I think so. Congratulations, Dr. Karl. 2025 New South Wales Senior Australian of the Year. Thank you. You're certainly an inspiration. Congratulations again. Okay, our final category. Far out, time flies. Okay, our final category this evening, of course, the 2025 New South Wales Australian of the Year Award. The Australian of the Year category celebrates the achievements and contributions of eminent Australians who are role models for us all. As you know, we've had some dynamic past recipients, and what's really great is that they come from such different sectors and backgrounds. Let's remind ourselves of some of them.
I think we can all really aspire to be like the Australians of the Year. The Australians of the Year really help to shape our nation as we move into the future, which is why we should be so grateful for their ongoing work.
We have to have greater representation of people with a disability absolutely everywhere. In our boardrooms, in our parliaments, in our mainstream schools, on our dating apps, on our sporting fields, in our universities, absolutely everywhere.
If I can make a difference to someone else's life, if they can draw some strength by hearing what I say and knowing that I'm speaking on their behalf, give me a lot of hope.
I'm going to continue to be myself, keep standing up for what I believe in, and hopefully by doing this, other people will follow.
When you look back at the amazing list of Australians of the Year over the last 60 plus years, it's an extraordinary group of people. Musicians, athletes, scientists, Aboriginal leaders, advocates, environmentalists, rescuers. It's an amazing list of incredible Australians.
What if instead of spending their precious time and energy at war with their bodies, our young people were free to become the leaders, big thinkers and game changers the world needs more of right now? It's not our bodies that need to change, it's our perspective.
Our mission is 0 deaths from melanoma. To reach it, in addition to prevention, we need a targeted screening program and greater investment in research. This must be a national health priority.
Beyond melanoma and into the broader cancer field, more courage is needed to push treatment boundaries backed by science for the benefit of all cancer patients.
I'm looking at you, Premier. Can you please join me on stage for the final award presentation? Okay, for the last time this evening, encompassing inspiration, contribution and excellence, let's see our incredible nominees for this year's New South Wales Australian of the Year Award.
Jess Hill is an investigative journalist who reports on social justice, domestic abuse, corruption and human rights. One of Australia's foremost thinkers and educators on the dangers of coercive control and domestic abuse, Jess works tirelessly to prevent women being murdered by their intimate partners. Through her book, essay, podcast and docuseries, Jessica's driving positive change for Australia's women and children. Kath Koshall's mission is to ensure the next generation grows up with a foundation of kindness. Since launching Kindness Factory in 2015, she's inspired more than 7.5 million acts of kindness. Despite facing serious setbacks in her personal life, affecting her both mentally and physically, Kath chooses to see the good in the world and inspires others to do the same. Daniel Princip helps boys unpack the messages they receive about masculinity and sex and gives them the tools and opportunities to build respectful relationships, creating space for them to be their best. Daniel has presented to more than 70,000 young Australians about empathetic and healthy behaviours and is driving meaningful change through his leadership of the national Consent Can't Wait initiative. Inspector Amy Scott VA of the New South Wales Police Force is selfless and brave in her pursuit to serve and protect the community, illustrated by her exceptional actions during a mass casualty event at a shopping centre in Sydney. She's courageous and compassionate, and her decisiveness undoubtedly saved innumerable lives, making her an inspiration to all Australians.
Premier, would you do us the final honour of presenting these remarkable finalists with their certificate, please? Inspector Amy Scott. Daniel Principe. Kath Koschel. And Jess Hill. Let's give them all a massive round of applause. I'll continue it. Premier, it's our final award. Whose name is in that envelope?
The 2025 Australian of the Year for New South Wales is Kath Koschel.
Chat to me. You've got to chat with me first, Kath. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. This is honestly the biggest shock of my life. I've been telling everyone who knows about it that I'm the fourth runner-up. So before we get into the guts of it, I would like to say that it is a huge and incredible honour to stand here, especially amongst the other three nominees in my category, as well as the other ones as well. Dan, what you're doing, what a brave topic to cover off on, mate, and you do it in such a beautiful and incredible way. Jess, phenomenal, courage. And Amy, my dad was a cop for 40 years, so I completely appreciate how tough of a career that is, being within a family like that. He knows you, and I know that he's probably more stoked to see you tonight than he is me. But it is an absolute honour and a privilege, and thank you for everything that you did on that day. Cheers.
Let's go back a step. Tell us about your initial motivation to do what you do. And I'd say what keeps you going, but I think I can already read that one. But yeah, initial motivation.
I'll never forget it. I was in a wheelchair I was a professional athlete and broke my back and got told I'd probably never walk again. I was in a wheelchair after receiving that news, and I couldn't reach the elevator button to get downstairs and cry because I'd just been told I'd never walk again. And I almost felt defeated in that moment. You know, this is the rest of my life. I'm going to struggle like this. And that was okay. But it was one of those really sobering moments. And a man, completely unbeknownst to me, had actually pressed that button for me. I didn't know it at the time, but I just heard the ping of the elevator. And he went on with his day. As I lifted my head, tears almost at the surface, I realised that he'd done that for me without wanting any recognition. And it changed the course of my entire life. I got downstairs, looked at myself in the mirror and said, you're going to walk again. That's what kindness has the power to do for all of us. It starts really small and it has an incredible ripple effect, and it's something that I'm really proud to support. I think we can all agree that kindness is never wasted, and when we think about when we've experienced or given kindness to ourselves and others, it's a pretty amazing feeling. So that's what we're trying to do at Kindness Factory. We're just simply trying to put more of that in the world.
Yeah, with KF, the Kindness Factory.
Love
it's
it.
Great. Where have you seen the biggest impact?
In kids. So
Yeah.
I'm a motivational speaker. I get to travel the world sharing my story and insights. And I first went into a high school in New York, of all places, and realised that's the generation I wanted to inspire. So I started doing school talks along with my motivational, inspirational talks around the world, and that has now turned into a kindness curriculum. So we teach the power of kindness to kids through 12 attributes, things like gratitude, mindfulness, empathy, compassion, trust, honesty, and add rigour and science, where's Carl? And science to the work that we're doing. So that's through an incredible partnership with a global institution called Kaplan as well.
Congratulations, Kath.
Thank you very much.
Our 2025 New South Wales Australian of the Year. Congratulations. What's next for our 4 recipients? Well, they now become nominees for the National Award, along with all the other state and territory recipients, with the announcement made in Canberra on the 25th of January. I would like to welcome to the stage someone who is lucky enough to meet all our amazing nominees across the country and host the recipients in Canberra in January next year, the Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Patrick Gorman.
Thank you, Serene. If I too can begin by acknowledging the Gadigal people and acknowledge all distinguished guests, but especially Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley ACKC, Governor of New South Wales, and Mr Dennis Wilson, the Premier, Chris Minns, and also the officials from the Department of Premier and Cabinet who helped make this wonderful event happen. And with that, if I can also acknowledge the team from the National Australia Day Council and Chair John Foreman. Next year represents 65 years of celebrating truly special Australians through the Australian of the Year Awards. Along Lake Burley Griffin in Canberra is the Honour Roll, where every year we note those latest, greatest Australians that we seek to recognise. But in doing so, we're actually trying to remind all Australians just what a remarkable people we are. That every Australian, whatever it is that we do, has the capacity to contribute something more. We all have the ability to go a little bit further and to think more about what else we can do for others. And in sharing the inspiring stories that we've heard here tonight, we do a little bit more to uplift the entire nation. And with that, if I can acknowledge Richard Scollier, AO, and in absentia, Professor Georgina Long, who have shown us through their work the amazing power of collaboration, the amazing power of people coming together to do more than they could do on their own. And again, what we've heard tonight from the recipients is, again, time and time again, I lost keeping count, but I got up to 16 mentions from those who are on this stage receiving awards talking about team. It's not just about them, it's about the people they work with. And if I can just reflect for all of us on what we've heard tonight, Martha Jabor talked about the inspiration that comes from the family members whom she serves, and the idea that she has built a place filled with love. What an incredible thing, to build a place filled with love. And a reminder that there are, in fact, more good people in the world than bad. I think as we walk out that door tonight, that is a nice thing to remember about this great place we call Australia. We had Dr. Karl Kruzulnitsky, who said, quote, "I feel like an imposter." Well, Dr. Karl, imagine what it feels like to be a politician standing up here. But that amazing Australian drive that he said that he saw something that was wrong and he had to do something. And so he made a huge change and as a result made a huge impact. We had Madison O'Grady-Lee talk about how young people are leading the change in mental health. They're not just accepting the system as it is, they're changing it for what they need it to be for the future. And Kath Koshel, something that's going to stay with me for a long time. Kindness starts small and it has a ripple effect. Kindness is never wasted. I can't wait to welcome each of these outstanding nominees to Canberra next year. Regardless of how that turns out, I think everyone in this room has already won by not just hearing these stories, but by taking the message of these stories, the message of these outstanding Australians, off in whatever it is that you will do tomorrow and whatever it is that you will do in the days, weeks and years ahead. Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much, Minister Gorman. To all 18 nominees here tonight, please remember that someone in your community thought you're amazing. You being here shows that it does not go unnoticed. To everyone watching and listening, get involved and nominate someone who inspires you at australianoftheyear.org.au and follow the nominate button. That's all you have to do. And finally, we would like to acknowledge the partners who make all this possible. We've heard from our category partners, the Departments of Health and Aged Care, Home Affairs, and the Australian Government Office for Youth. We thank our broadcast partner, the ABC. Thank you to our media partner, Australian Community Media. They reach rural, regional, and remote audiences around the country. Thanks to our accommodation partner, Crown Plaza Canberra, and to our cultural partner, the Australian National University, who produce the amazing trophies. Thanks to exhibition partner, the National Museum of Australia, and our legal partner, Minter Ellison. Please join me in thanking our partners for their vital support. Congratulations again to everyone involved. That brings us to the end of the formal proceedings. Before we conclude, can I please ask the Governor of New South Wales, the Premier of New South Wales, Minister Gorman, and all our nominees and recipients to stay for the official photos on stage. And I invite all our other guests to join us on the balcony for canapes and drinks to celebrate. Don't forget to tune in to the national announcement live on the ABC the evening before Australia Day. And just like tonight, it truly is a beautiful and inspirational event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and have a lovely evening.